Breaking news out of Putnam County, Florida, involving another child sex offender. This is one you really won't believe. I'm going to get lengthy with this because I am deep diving the history of this case. So bear with me. Do not like this video until the end. Otherwise, it kills my algorithm. This thing is already going to get shadow banned because of the context of what I'm talking about. So please wait and like this video towards the end, repost it, save it to your favorites, share it in whatever and every means you feel like sharing it, because this is information that must get out. Joshua Heron, age 36, was convicted Wednesday on 16 felony counts of numerous child sex crimes. He was originally arrested in November of 2022 and was convicted on 16 counts, as I just said, 2 counts of sexual battery of a minor, 2 counts of unlawful sexual activity with a minor, 8 counts of promoting sexual performance of a child, 1 count of offense against students by an authority figure, I'll get into that one, transmission of material harmful to minors via electronic device, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device, as well as tampering in first-degree proceedings. So I could only imagine what that one is that would relate to his trial, which only lasted 2 days because that's all it took a jury to convict him of such atrocious crimes. So the allegations began back in 2018 when an anonymous source reported the allegations to the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. The alleged victim at the time was a minor, and she declined to participate in the investigation and denied the allegations of the sexual relationship between her and Mr. Heron. Because, see, here's the kicker. Mr. Heron was, at the time, a Putnam County Sheriff's deputy working as a school resource officer at the victim's high school. So can you blame her for denying the allegations and not participating in the original investigation? However, in 2022, once she was of age, she did come forward and confirm that the allegations were correct and the anonymous tip was in fact true. So this is where it gets interesting. Like I said, the trial only lasted for 2 days. The jury convicted him on 16 felony counts. The day after the victim actually came forward stating that the allegations were true, Mr. Heron quickly resigned his position. Can't imagine why. The victim was 15 years old when the relationship began. Now, why would a 15-year-old victim not participate in the investigation? Why would a 15-year-old victim deny the allegations? Well, that's simple. Because the very law enforcement agency that was investigating the allegations was the very law enforcement agency that this shitbag worked for. Hell, I'm a 50-year-old man, and I wouldn't trust my local police department or sheriff's office if they were investigating one of their own. This is the email correspondence between myself and Putnam County Sheriff's Office confirming that Mr. Heron was in fact held without bond through the duration of his trial and will continue to be held without bond until he is received by the Florida Department of Corrections. However, he was extended a courtesy by being housed in the Clay County Detention Center since he was law enforcement at the time of his arrest. This brings me to the rest of the story. See, that's why this thin blue line bullshit needs to be abolished. Inner city youth across this country have been charged and convicted of gang paraphernalia, gang this, gang that. What is the thin blue line? And many law enforcement officers wear that gang insignia right here on their sleeves or right here on their chest. That thin blue line bullshit has got to go, period. Now, the good news on this, I give props to the Putnam County State's Attorney's Office. Because, see, Mr. Heron, when he was arrested in November of 2022, and he booked into the county jail with no bond. Guess where Mr. Heron has been sitting since that day? He has been sitting in the county detention center with no bond, where he still currently resides, because that's the only place this shitbag deserves to be. Now, Mr. Heron goes for sentencing on August 26th, where he faces up to life in prison. I have full confidence that the Florida State's Attorney's Office will go for a life sentence, and I have full confidence that a judge will grant it. This was a law enforcement officer who took advantage of his position of authority and sexually assaulted a minor child for 3 years. This relationship went on for 3 years. Personally, I think he deserves a death sentence. And the minute he was convicted on 16 counts, he should have been hanged on the public square. See, these child predators get off way too easy. Way too easy. And that is the fault of our justice system. This is a pandemic. Child predators, sexual abuse of children is a pandemic in this country. Nobody can deny that. And the only way to end a pandemic is to ratify the disease. You don't deserve life in prison. There is no second chance. See, it's statistically proven that somebody who commits a sexual crime will repeat that crime. The only cure for pedophilia is death. And I may sound a little harsh on this, but we as adults have a responsibility to protect our children, and not just our children, our neighbors' children, our friends' children, and the children of total strangers. And when you put a person in a position of authority and they breach that duty, they deserve death. Period. Now, I got a little heated over the whole thin blue line controversy. And I'm going to show you some pictures of 3 different highway patrol departments that wear uniforms. And then I'm going to show you the picture of Mr. Joshua Robert Heron in his sheriff's office uniform. That's not a uniform. It is a militarized police costume. See, and that's another place where this country's gone south. You know, this whole defund the police, nobody's wanting to take money away from police departments. That whole slogan should have been demilitarize the police. Look at your local police force. They look more like paratroopers than they do law enforcement officers. And that's where the trust is broken. I mean, here, look at the Georgia Highway Patrol. Look at how professional their uniforms are. Here's the Maryland Highway Patrol. Hell, I'm in Texas. Here's the Texas Highway Patrol. These are men and women in uniform that appear to be trustworthy. Now look at Mr. Heron in his militarized police costume. This is a uniform that he wore to a high school every day. Tell me he's not boasting his authority in his militarized costume. Because that's not a fucking uniform. That is a goddamn costume.